Good morning. Welcome. My name's Barbara Gray from Clarity here in the UK. And this is the SHAC, safe, happy and creative. So I'm hoping that we've got a few friends in the building with us today. Our best friend Paul Church is here to keep you company. So I'm just waiting for a little heads up from him to let me know that the sound is good. And then we'll get back on the bus. If you're not familiar with the SHAC, we get together every Monday at 10 o'clock, except for example, next week when we're doing the retreats, which you're welcome to join us. Do call Sue and find out the details. And of course, when I'm on holiday, which is ironically what we're talking about. I went on a road trip with Sam Crow, and we went to California, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. It was a road trip. Good morning, come on in. And so what we've been doing since we got back, what I've been doing is just taking you on the trip in an arty kind of doodle way. We stopped off in just to let our friends find us. We actually stopped off in Monterey in California after San Francisco, and we had a wonderful couple of days there at the aquarium, and so you and I have been doodling a turtle together, and that takes a little while. I had a date with myself yesterday and coloured said turtle in. So I noticed with great delight that many of you started posting coloured masterpieces of turtles on Facebook, which was really lovely to see. And so I'll show you, just in case you're wondering, because lots of people, they were saying, where did you find? I posted mine as well. And so curiosity got the better of some people, and they're saying, right, well, where did you learn how to draw that turtle? Where did you find the turtle? Where can I find the turtle? And so on. And so for those of you who are new to the fold this morning, I'll give you a little recap on how we got to the turtle, and then we'll take it from there. We're very early though, I know. Well, it's 10 o'clock. We're set for a heat wave. So I hope that you're going to stay cool and drink lots of water the next couple of days. While we're waiting for our friends to arrive, just to let you know, today at 10 o'clock we're here. At 2 o'clock we'll be getting together. Paul and myself will be keeping you company for another hour on our mini makes Monday, mini makes Monday. So that's at 2 o'clock, which will be quite fun. And we're going to be looking at backdrop stamps, how to use them in conjunction with our AT, and not the ATCs, we make ATCs, artist trading cards, with our big sampler, A4 sampler. So join us at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and we'll be looking into I think it's the Clarity Classics one, if I'm not mistaken, this afternoon, with the Dippy Toe and the Willow Lady. Good morning from sunny Norway. Good morning, Ellen. Nice to have your company. Yeah, so that's happening, of course, today. Then tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, we're taking a break from Groovy Tuesday at 10 o'clock because Louise is on holiday, and Paul is going to be busy. Tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, he'll be keeping you company, and he'll just be exploring the new plates that he took to Hobby Maker last Friday. So there's another opportunity for you to take a look at those and invest in them. That's tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And then on Wednesday, I think Paul is back up to Hobby Maker at 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Yeah, so you can join him on the big TV channel, Hobby Maker, at 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock. I think he will be he'll be putting his paper engineering hat on and taking some of our best dyes up that way. So that'll be nice. Then on Thursday, it's just me in the shack at 7 o'clock with your good selves. And I've got something really special lined up, which tees up perfectly for Friday. So Friday, so at 7 o'clock in the evening on that's 7 o'clock in the evening on Thursday, and then on Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we are launching a superb set of beautiful stamps that I actually illustrated when I was in New Mexico. And I thought it would be really nice if I gave you a little bit of narrative this week, put them in perspective, put them in their setting so you understand why I drew them to start with and why I think they would make a beautiful addition to your craft stash. So let's see. First of all, we're back on the bus, on the Turtle. We're back on the Turtle Bay bus. Although Turtle Bay is Hawaii, beautiful place. Yeah, been there. I'm very lucky, and I know I am. You know, I'm lucky. I did a lot of traveling and have done a lot of traveling over the years, you know. One of the biggest advantages, I guess, because I studied languages, well, and my mum is German, so it began then really, you know. So we always went to Germany, and then I studied languages, so that took me further afield. Then I married an American, that took me further afield. And I've always had a little bit of that Wanderlust, you know, Wanderlust, as we say in English, Wanderlust. Wander, I like to travel. You know, travel is the greatest education, don't you think? And I've lived abroad. I lived abroad for 15 years. You know, so, and when you live abroad, of course, then your hub is in a different place, isn't it? So rather than being in Kent, I was based in Nuremberg for a long time. So that gave me access to a lot of areas, Austria, in Europe, Italy, Spain, Portugal, France, etc. You know, because I was based somewhere different. My center was in a different place. And then when we moved to California, of course, Northern California, then my hub was different. My resting place was a different place again. So then you explore that kind of area around you, that bigger area. Yeah, so I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. And it's cool really between you and me, because now I'm in my 60s and I don't really, given the political climate, given the world situation, given global climate change, etc., etc. I've kind of, it may be a combination of things. Perhaps I mean, having just come back from a 3-week road trip across 4 states in America on the West Coast, I feel less inclined to want to travel all the time now. I think it could be something to do with my age. So, and also I've had my fill, you know, my cup is full. I've been to so many different places. It was great going with Sam. Loved it. Revisited. Most of the places we went to were places I'd already been to, which was good too, you know, to see how they've evolved, how they've changed, how I see them differently now than I did last time. So yeah, traveling gently this week. If you're good with that, you know, I think that's the key here. Now let's have a look. It was interesting because we'll go back to the turtle and I'll just recap. So when we were in Pacific Grove, this was after San Francisco, we went down to the Monterey Bay area. The Monterey Bay area is where my son was born. So that tells you where I was at the time. And Pacific Grove, Monterey, and Carmel, they're like a 3-town area, and they're all based around the bay and the aquarium, blah, 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 blah. So we were in a pub in Pacific Grove, in a bar, and it was called the Fog and Hops or Hops and Fog or something, which tracks because it does get foggy there. And I saw a mural, just putting it in perspective, where I thought, oh, love that picture. So I saw this really, really cool mural on the pub wall. So you can see the hops and that. And I thought, I really I liked the idea of drawing a turtle. And then I did a little bit of, I started looking around, and I was aware when we went to the aquarium, in the gift shop, I do like the gift shops in these places. I noticed the turtles were on a lot of sweatshirts, protect our oceans, save our oceans, respect our oceans, etc. I thought, yeah, I got that. I read the room, you know, and I thought it'd be really great if we could make a poster. So what I did was, let's have a look at where we went with this. So we took this, let's just recap. Then I took a piece of tracing paper. I didn't trace this, but I did draw the turtle on a piece of tracing paper. Okay. This was the one that we did together. I did him twice, obviously. I did him once to know where I was going on the bus, and then I did him again. So I did him again, and then I turned him over, and I put carbon or lead or a pencil, soft lead pencil. Right. So just to recap, so you know what I was up to, I used 5B, which is a real soft black pencil. So I loaded the back of that. Then I turned it over again, and then I transferred with a hard pencil this time, H for hard. I transferred the image onto a piece of white card, and then we started colouring them in with polychromos. So if you recall, we were doing that on Thursday evening, and then I said, right, let's set ourselves some homework because it's good for the head. Let's just colour this little fella in. And at the time I said, you know what? I'm going to redo him on a piece of that alcohol ink background. Do you know the printed backgrounds that we've got? Let me show you. I did talk about them. Let me see. I know I've got them in my box here. Here we go. In this box, I have everything. Right, see, remember the backdrop prints? So I took one of those, didn't I? And then I transferred the outline from the tracing paper onto one of these. I mean, this is one of the best things about working with tracing paper. It's not that you trace the image, it needs to be your art, right? I'm not saying trace the image, but what I am saying is, now you've got your template, now you can do it again and again and again, and you can do it on different surfaces. So once I had my image, let's put that to one side. Invaluable. Honestly, if you're shopping today, drop some tracing paper in your basket. It's really good. In a minute, we're going to be using it for something else. I use it all the time. For me, it's like working something out before I commit. Yeah, it's like planning out my composition. It's so easy to erase, to rub out on the tracing paper, you know. And the other thing is that you can move it around. I use it all the time. Very good indeed. So let's have a look. So then I've got that. Now I've put it on. There you go. So now I've put it on here, and then I've coloured it in. Okay, so that was me yesterday afternoon. Well chuffed with that, I have to tell you. So let's go in a bit closer, see if we can come in a bit closer. There you go. So, oh, I'm going to sneeze. But so I took one of those backgrounds. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I took one of those backgrounds, traced over the top, so I could see exactly where he was going to be. And then I took my polychromos. I've got some beautiful polychrome. You know, you get what you pay for. Everybody has different preferences. My personal preference is Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. I think they're absolutely marvellous. So there you go. That's what I used. Thank you. Everyone's saying, I think, why is everyone saying bless you? Of course, I sneezed. Okay, so I took my Polychromos pencil and I spent a happy hour just colouring them in. And what colours did I use? Well, I certainly used a load of greys. I used yellows. I used greens. I'll show you what I used. I've got them all in my box here. There you go. I used the warm grey. I used that yellow. I used ivory. I definitely used a lot of greys. There we are. I also used a blending pen with a blending nib, and I coloured in. And I blended and smoothed out. Okay. On the feet here, back here, I used the white. So I want to just show you a couple of little tricks. Oh yeah, that one was a good one as well. Ochre. I used white. Let me see. Yeah. And so over this way here, what I did was I put my white in before I started colouring in. I pressed quite hard. And then when I went over the top, it created a resist. See? So I was able to, you can feel it. When I rub over this, I can actually feel the texture, the indent from this pencil over the back. Now, when I picked this piece of printed paper, pre-printed, see, it's ideal because you've really got the back. But when I picked this piece, this main thrust of the turtle, if you like, was in the white area. So I'll show you what I mean by that. See, when you look here, you could pick one. See, there's a white area there, of course. So that means that when you trace your turtle onto there, the main bulk of the animal is on there. Only these bits are going to come into this bit here. Right, so then I thought, oh, that poses a bit of a challenge, trying to get this colour to come out. But here's the thing. So when I look at this, I think, oh, yeah, I like that. But I did something which I'm getting into more and more, right? Do you remember I drew it? Look, I drew it on a piece of card first. Do you remember what on Thursday I coloured it in on here, didn't I? I mean, this is a massive waste. I could have done it if I'd known what I was going to do. All I did was I cut out these 3 bits. Look, that looks pretty cool as well. Actually, look, arty. Doesn't that look great? Where you just put his head in that. Yeah, I like that as well. That looks so arty, like half done. So I cut out these bits. I used a Pritt stick, like what we use with a collage, and then I added them there, and then I carried on drawing. So I did a little bit more around here first. So if I could lift this off, you'd see that I put quite a lot of grey up under here, so that it really. But there's a block there. That isn't just clever shading. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can do clever shading. I can keep doing clever shading, but this is actually stuck on there. So that's that and that. Those are the 3 bits that I cut out. Now, with hindsight, I was deliberating with this because I thought, would it be better if I drew this? This was card. This was stencil card. Would it be better after the fact if I'd done that on copy paper, right? So that way, it's easier to cut out for a start. I used one of our Japanese craft knives. I used this knife to cut it out. These are brilliant. I mean, you don't have to press hard, you know. These are absolutely fantastic, these Japanese knives. So I used the craft knife to cut this bit out, and it worked really well. And then what I did right, because it's quite a sharp outer edge because it's card, what I did do, where's it? I might have not bothered bringing it. Or did I? Yeah, I did. I took my Pergamano ball tool, right, and I ran around the outside, right? I'm not going to do it again, but I ran around the outside and it just sort of compressed the edge. Would I have probably been better off if I'd used paper? When you're doing collage and stuff like that, probably. However, the pencil just responds so beautifully to the stencil card that, you know, it's 6 of one and half dozen of the other. It's a choice that you need to make. But I thought it would be a good idea, you know, just to show you, because you will have assumed that this is all on one layer, but I could not have created that bright yellow, that yellow on this flipper if I'd been working with this. However, I could have put a white undercoat down in the area with a gesso, let's say, but I still don't think, my experience says, that the polychromos would have responded that well to an undercoat. I don't think so. So there you go. That's how I ended up with my turtle, right? So this is an overlay. This is an overlay. These 3 pieces are cut out from there. That's cool, isn't it? I like that look. Do you know that I would put on my wall just like that? Hey, where you just do partial art. Isn't that cool? I like that. I like that a lot. So then, remember we were talking about making a poster. Like, how would you make a poster? So I've been busy. Now, one of the things, right, heads up, I have a new product, and this has been a bit of a team effort. They're on pre-order. I use what I call a viewfinder, or what's called in the world viewfinder. I'm forever doing this, right? And you hold it like that, and you think, right, where am I going to go with my, where am I going to go? So very often, you know, you take a bit of card and you think, right, where am I going to cut it up? I've even taken a mount board, like a cardboard mount, you know what we use? And I've chopped it at 2 ends to get 2 right angles, and then you can use it like that. So it's like a viewfinder. Artists use it, or photographers use it to decide which part of the picture they're going to draw. You see them on, you know, the landscape artists and that, and they sit there and they go, oh, where am I going to go? And I said, you know what? We can make those. So Jim, Dave, and myself, we put our heads together and we have our clarity. So these are rulers that have got right angles on them. Let me show you. These are so cool. They're the same, right? Clarity, we're calling them view rulers. So you've got 2 rulers that work together. I'll show you how they work. I'll show you how easy this is. This is a game changer. So let's say I take my view ruler. Let me pan out a little bit so you can see it better. Right, so I've got my work like that, and then I'm going to decide, right, before I do this, I'm going to get my tracing paper out over the top, right, but I just want to show you, because they got numbers on, they start at the 0. Look, see, I can go 5.5 by 5.5, and see the line there. So this is brilliant, right? Because what it's done now is it's telling me exactly where I want to go. Say I want to come down a bit, so I just move the whole thing down. I can slide around. Look, so that's a 5.5 by 5.5. I can take my pencil, I can draw in there, I can cut in there, no problem at all. Just make sure you've got a cutting mat underneath. Let's try something different. Let's say I want to go a bit, this is where I want to protect my artwork. But you understand, look, I can go 4 by 5. So I just go 5 up the side and 4, and I know it's square. Because one of the things that, and you know what I'm talking about, if you use just a ruler, then what I've always ended up doing is you use the outer edge of the artwork, don't you? So you go like that, and then you have to measure a transparent ruler. So you say, or you have to measure it in from that side. Otherwise, how are you gonna? Or you just keep snipping away until it's the right size, right? So this gives you, it's literally what we're calling a view ruler, right? So I can go out, I can go, look, I can go to there. Okay, that's the biggest, isn't it? Obviously it's 7 by 7, which is exactly what this card is. We decided to go with inches, but I think these are such a good idea. So I can come in a bit further. I can bring this in. They're 14, I think we're 14.99 on these. Look, see, so now I've got 6. I'm going to come in, there's 6 by 6, and then I can see exactly where it is there. And now I can just move it around until I'm happy. I'm a bit too big. So I'm going to come in a bit more. 5.5 by 5.5. See how it works? Then you just hold the two halves together, and then you move it around till you think, yep, that'll do. As soon as you're done, in you go. Sorted. Game changer. Telling you that. But what I want to do is put a piece of tracing paper over the top, and then I'll show you how we're going to use these. Right, so I want to protect my artwork. So before I do anything, I'm just going to put a couple of, so it doesn't move around while I'm working as well. Because I want to make a poster, don't I? We want to make a poster, let's say. So top tip, first of all, we've cut out the flippers and the shell. Right, now we've got, so now that's sitting in the right place. Now it's protected. Cool. So now I can take my ruler. I tend to hold the bottom one. It's easier because I'm, left-handed or right-handed, right? So I'm gonna decide if that's the outside, that's where the white, see the white bit there? I don't want to make it that big though. So if I want to come in there, see, I might want to just cover up a piece as well, but I'm going with square here only because the backdrop's square, yeah? So if I want to come in a little bit tighter, let's say that's quite good. So then I want to come in at 5.5 by 5.5, like that. I'm thinking I might come in a little bit. I don't want to see even that. Yeah, that's probably about where I want to be, about there. Let's just hold them both in place like that. See, and then I know, this is the best bit about it, right? I know that I've got a square. How many times have I done this and I'm off, I'm pissed, so to speak, right? And I think it's straight and it's not. So these simple little ruler hatches, and we haven't overcomplicated it. This is as much as you're going to need, right? But those little ruler hatches, they tell you exactly. Now, if you want to hold it in place, you can. You can press and it will hold in place. But if you want to hold it in place with a bit of masking tape, then that will definitely hold it in place for you. See, and then you just move it like that. So now I know I can move this around. It's not going anywhere, right? So I can say I really like that, maybe a bit more at the top, like so. That'll work for me as a poster. And then, see, I was thinking we could say, respect our ocean, something like that. I could bring it down a bit further. Respect our oceans, our waters. See? Or we could bring it in a bit tighter and make it tall. See? So then say I want to come in like that, then I need to measure it. But it will work. So let's say, for example, I've got choices here. I'll take this one. That'll do. And I just have to press on that side. I've got that one, got that one, got that one. Game changer, game changer. Lift that off, it's done. I mean, I know exactly that that's square because My view ruler told me it was. Isn't that cool? I know. If I wanted to come in a bit closer, right, then all I've got to do, hold that one there like so. Just take this off. Just lift that off there. And then maybe say I want to come in. Let's try it. I want to come in there. See, I've got my pencil line there now, so I can see. But say I want to come in and I want to turn this into, instead of 5 by 5 or whatever it was before. What was it before? Just check. See, so you can check, can't you? It was 5.5 by 5.5. So now let's go there. See, so I'm going 5. Nice. And then I'm going to go, so that's 5. And then I'm going to go 5 up there. See, that's cool as well. So now so let me show you how this works. So now I've got 5, 5 at the top. See, to me, the squaring off is the key. So we'll go like that. Take your time. Got 5, 5 there. Let's just secure this one. I mean, this is proper measuring now. I mean, I use it more as a viewfinder than anything, but it works great. So now say I've got 5 on that side, but it's still the same height. So now I've adjusted. I'm making it more of a rectangle. Yeah. So I think I'm going to bring it in like that. Let me just show you. See, because we're working on the tracing paper, so it really doesn't make any difference at all. But I'm just tightening it up a bit, just showing you how easy this is. Right, so that's good. So now I've changed the sides. I brought the sides in a bit, but it's still bang on. See? So now, what does it look like when it's done? Well, that's what it looks like when it's done. So I've got my outline. This is very clever, okay? So Dave's, we're on pre-order on this because we decided, did we want to make it clear? Did we want to make it, but we decided to go black only because it blocks out. If it's clear, the advantage of a clear one is, of course, you can see what you're hiding, but the disadvantage of a clear one is you can see what you're hiding, which means that you never get a true reading of what it really looks like. So our view rulers, Mark 1, are in black, and they will be coming to you. If you order them this week, you'll get them next week. They'll be done next week. They're good. They're 9 inches by 9 inches. Let's just have a look here. They're 9 inches long. They're 2 inches wide. That's it. So that there is a 2 by 2. So you'll find that they're really useful as basic rulers with a right angle as well. So there you go. Simple ideas are the best ideas. Don't you agree? Nice. So once you've decided where you want to put your frame now, right? So I've got choices. I can go square, or I've butted it in a little bit. And see, I didn't want to take 1/2 inch off the whole side. So I've come in closer here. So that means now, if I want to use, what words can we use? We could use, what do we want to say? Respect our ocean. Respect our oceans. Do you see what I mean? What do you want to say? Do you want to put it all across the top? Respect. Respect is a good word right across there. And then we've got our there. See? Fits nicely. What do you think? Ocean. Or you could write respect our, and then you could have ocean along the bottom, couldn't you? Yeah? So the jury's out on this, really, isn't it? But I really like this idea. See, and then it may be that I lift that off and I think, do you know what? Hang on a minute. I know I've got it square now. Maybe I want to bring it down a bit. So I've got a bit more room to write something. But I know that it's a good size now, right? Because I've got the, so I could go, I've got that there like that. Look, you see what I'm getting at? So I could say, so I've got my problem here. I don't have problems. These are highbrow problems. But respect our, and now I've made room for my ocean. See? So that works. I'll pop that on there like so. And now I have my canvas. I have my template ready to go. And then I just need to decide how I want the writing to look. But remember, I'm working on, so how many letters are we going to say respect? Respect is a good word. Respect is a great word. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the center. Yeah. I reckon that's the way to go. So we put P there. Let's just give it a go. Right, we'll put P there. And then let's work our way outwards. R, E. It's going to look good. You just got to get it in the right place first. We're making a poster, friends. Right, respect. That'll do. Look, so we're going to go respect. And then we're going to have another E there, like that. I like it when it kind of kisses the shape of the animal. Respect is good. And then we've got a T there. See, once you've decided, nice. Let's come in a bit so you can see what I'm doing here. There we are. So we've got R. And what I'm doing here as well is I'm trying to make the letter, like rather than curve it, let's do that, right? So that the bars, if you like, right. So we started with the P in the center. And that way, yeah, this is going to look nice. See? That way, by starting with the P in the center, you've spaced the letters out well. I do. Right. Nice. Okay. That'll work really well. Respect. There. Respect. And then we've got ocean, our ocean. Let's just call it one word. Our ocean. Our ocean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4. O is the middle one, isn't it? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 is the gap. Yeah. O is the middle. And then we've got Xian and our. All right, that works. So if that's the case, then the O needs to be here. Hey, that works. So we put the O there. Shen. That feels like it's not going to fit. But that's because we've got more letters going on here, haven't we? Oh, maybe ocean. Let me just check something out first. May have to come a bit smaller. That will work, look. And then our. We've got respect. Our. Big O again, maybe. Jury's out. Our. Yeah, this is looking good, friends. This is, now you can see why you use you can see why we use tracing paper, can't you? See, we're keeping it to this tight one. I'm showing off my ruler here, but it gives you an idea of where we are. There we are. See, so that's what it's going to look like that. 5.5 by 5. And if we want to go a bit bigger, nobody says we can't. There you go. Take it right to the edge of the card. Yeah. I like. Okay. So the respect is a definite no-brainer. That looks fabulous. And then the O, what do I think? I like it a lot. And I think, do we make it lowercase? Well, let's try it. Nobody says yay or nay. It's all on tracing paper. So we can do what we like, really, can't we? Let's have a look. It might look best. Let's see if it looks better if it's lowercase. Shall we? Not lowercase, smaller. Like that. Yeah, I think so, friends. I think it looks better. All one height. So we keep the, remember, like we always, when we're doing lettering, we always keep the bars a little higher. They just look better, don't they? Yeah. There you go. Yeah, love it. What do you think? Protect our ocean. Protect our oceans. It's all right. It's one great big one. There you go. It's only the men that decided it was all different territories. I like this. And then what we're going to do is, you know, this tees up really well with what I'm going to show you as well in a minute. So now that is going to be my art piece, right? And when I lift this away, let me take this away from here. When I lift this off here, I've protected my turtle. He's totally turtle. I've protected my turtle, and I've wrapped the respect around there. Look, isn't that nice? Yeah. There you go. I love. If I wanted to, I could come up here like that, just saying, right, and put all the words up the top. I could put respect our ocean there, right? But I think I quite like straddling him like that. It's good, isn't it? So there you go. That's that. And now I'm going to spend a happy hour, because what I've got to do now is I've got to turn this over again. Look, this is top tip. Turn this over. And yes, you can use the ruler for cutting out. So you turn it over and you put the black on this side. Then when you flip it back, it goes into place. Then you've got to commit. Then you've got to, mind you, still only doing pencil. So my friends, that's the next bit of homework, making posters. So I'll stop there with that one because I think it's nice. One more little peep at the turtle, totally turtle. Okay. And then I'm going to move on to, I'm going to get back on the bus just for 10 minutes. Because next week, you see, this is the thing. Next week, it's the retreats. It's Monday, Tuesday, me. Wednesday, Thursday, me. Then Friday, regroup. Then Linda Williams is coming down. Saturday, Sunday, Linda. And I'm doing, Linda's work is amazing. She's doing a fantastic pair of projects. And I'm doing, I've decided we're going to take acrylic paint by the horns, and we're going to explore acrylic paint because it's amazing, and it's time we got to grips with it. because once we know our material, then we can play. And then we can go to the jelly plates and do gel prints and have a bit more knowledge about the material we're using, you know, rather than just hitting and hoping all the time. So I thought, yeah, there's some really nice projects I've got lined up for you. I think you'll enjoy them. Yeah. Well, I know I enjoyed doing it. I was well chuffed with the results. So if you still want to join in, there are still places available, especially on the Monday and Tuesday. So you could come down on the Sunday, see? So you miss all the traffic. Come down on the Sunday, stay overnight. We'll give you a hotel room so that, you know, we'll tell you which hotels are really local. So you could stay overnight. They're all staying in the same hotel. And then on the Monday and Tuesday, then you head home Tuesday night, you see. So you've got 2 overnights, one on the Sunday night, one on the Monday night. It'll be good. Be good. It's great just getting together with a load of people who are like-minded and trying something different. You know, you don't have to bring anything except an open mind and a smile. We provide all the materials, lunch, refreshments, etc. So there you go. Now, so moving on. One of the when we got on our tour, it was split into 3 parts. So the first week was in California on the coastline. And I told you last week, then came the road trip part. So we stayed in San Francisco, the Monterey Bay area, and then we started moving in Bakersfield, Las Vegas. Then we went to the Hoover Dam, the Grand Canyon. And so we were moving now. For that week, we were traveling, lots of driving. And we saw loads, okay, loads. Las Vegas, yeah, kept moving. We went to Cirque du Soleil. It's got to be seen to be believed, really. We talked about it on Thursday. Kept going. Then we went to Flagstaff. We went to the Painted Desert. We went to the Petrified Forest. This is all phenomenal landscape, right? And then we settled in a place called Gallup, which is now you're really in, it's like we're in New Mexico. It's that Arizona, New Mexico blend. So I was saying on Thursday that the further you go inland, the further you travel along Route 66, you're getting into Indian territory. Really beautiful Indian territory. The landscape's phenomenal. You could just imagine it, you know. There are a lot of different tribes in that area. Navajo, you know, Navajo I think we're familiar with Navajo. A lot of warring tribes as well, but Navajo are Pueblo. Pueblo in Spanish means village. They're village people. Acoma, Pueblo, villagers. The Hopi tribe. My heart is in this area. Right now, the Hopi tribe, again, Pueblo Indians, they're settlers. They wanted to settle. They're most well known for their craft and their art. They're amazing potters. Navajo as well, but let's sit with the Hopi tribe here. The Hopi, H-O-P-I, okay? The reason I want to sit with them is because they really send home a strong message, a really strong message. Hopi are the Indians who want to be good people. They practice peace. Everything is peaceful. They are very kind. They have a massive respect of the earth. There we go. There's that word again. Respect, Mother Nature. Interestingly, in Indian speak, the turtle represents Mother Earth. When they talk about the earth, they talk about Turtle Island. Yeah. So there you go. How interesting that I settled on a turtle in California, traveled 1,000 miles inland and arrived back with a turtle. I thought so too. So let me see, if we go to the Hopi tribe, as soon as we got to New Mexico, I'll tell you where we went. We got to Gallup, right? Gallup. And when we got there, it was right on Route 66. So it's the railroad town, actually. And the whole town, you get a lot of this in the States, the whole town is kind of butted up to the railroad. So the railroad runs, the tracks run there, and then all the shops and hotels and bars, they're all along the walk, you know, the what's it called? The boardwalk, right? So you don't get all your clothes in the mud in there, you know, the boardwalk. Santa Fe Beach Boardwalk, woo! So this was one of those towns where it ran straight alongside the railroad, and it's still going, right? So Sam and I decided we were going to go off the main drag, off the beaten track, and we went in 2 roads, because you never know, do you? Don't you often think when you see westerns that it's all like a facade, and then you think, I wonder what's round the back. Yeah, right. So we decided to cut back a couple of roads just to see what's behind the facade. So the front was all bars, restaurants, you know, shops, touristy, all along the front. So we went back 2 blocks, and it's all grid, isn't it? It's very grid. And so we went back and we started driving parallel to Route 66, but 2 blocks up. And we kept going and going. And there were shops and offices, and you could see where people worked, right? And we kept going, crossing the road, crossing. But there was nowhere to really stop. There was no life. It was definitely a 9-to-5 street that we were on. So, and then we saw a load of cars. I think I mentioned this. We saw a load of cars, and we said, well, where there's cars, there's activity. So we got out, and sure enough, there was this big city kind of hall, beautiful building, Adobe. Adobe it's a special kind of architecture, very Mexican, very Indian looking. I mean, this is modern Adobe, but we could talk about that another time. Anyway, we stumbled upon a Native American Indian dance festival. What were the chances? Yeah. And they were all sitting in this big circle, and we asked if we could join. And we got to watch, they welcomed us. And we got to watch the Acoma, which is another Pueblo group. We got to watch the Acoma Youth Festival in Gallup. And they came out in all their regalia. And I just fell in love with these young kids. You know, they were all real teenage, 15, 14, 13, young people, really carrying the message of peace, love, harmony. It was beautiful, okay? Really. It was so spiritual. And, you know, these people haven't got any money, they're not wealthy, and they're not supported. Then they are self-sufficient. They have to look after themselves. And it was just so lovely to see these young people just so invested in their culture, you know. So we went to we did that. Then we stayed overnight in Gallup, and then we went to Acoma, which is the place on the top of the mountain, the mesa. I think I've told you about this place. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You know, the Mexicans were pretty harsh. The Spanish were pretty harsh to the Native American Indians. They copped it from all sides. and yet still they maintain this dignity and this, it's just beautiful, absolutely wonderful. So then we were pretty much at our destination, Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I've got the house, where we've got a house. And so that's where we then stopped and rested for a week. And we really soaked up the land of enchantment. I spoke about it last week. Really, really lovely, okay? And it was there that I decided to redraw. I started leaning into the Hopi, the Hopi tribe. And I drew in New Mexico. Let me just show you this. When I was there, I really got into it. And I drew these, I call them the Hopi people, right? So let me show you where we're at, the Hopi people. And these are kachinas. Kachinas are like spirit dolls, beautiful dolls. And I just want to show you the Hopi. So you can see here, right? They're dancers, they're carriers. These young Hopi, I drew them. Look, I'll show you. Some carrying on their heads. The Hopi reservation is right on the edge of the Painted Desert, okay? And the thing about these Hopi people or Kachina dolls is that they represent peace, respect for nature, balance, and you know, Hopi means people who live in the correct way. Isn't that beautiful? So these are our Hopi people. And on Thursday evening, I thought perhaps we could draw a couple together. Okay, I've already drawn them. They've already been made into stamps, beautiful stamps. The stamps have already gone to the design team. I'm going to get some fabulous artwork. On Friday, we release the Hopi people, okay, in stamps. And I'm excited because to me, they represent everything that we should be aspiring to, you know. Let me show you. I did 9 of them all together. But the thing about it is they're all women. A lot of indigenous tribes are very, they go down they're matrilineal. They go down the woman's line, okay? So where we're in a very patrilineal society, they're matrilineal. And the young girl, when she was talking, everything gets handed down to the eldest or the youngest daughter. Imagine that, right? Yeah, it does. It gets handed down to the youngest daughter, the absolute polar opposite of us. And I thought, isn't that interesting? And the young girl that was introducing her dance, she was saying, I know you want to ask me, where am I? I've told you it gets handed. And she said, I'm the second oldest, so I don't get anything. I just have to rely on the fact I have a good relationship with my younger sister. Isn't that fabulous? Yeah, so to my mind, I thought it would be just a beautiful thing for us to kind of work on these little Kachina dolls together. And we can use, it's quite easy to draw them. They're not difficult, but I think they'll make really lovely stamps. So they represent balance, they represent nature. They're very fluid. I'll show you a couple more. There's another one with a doll. See, they're all different. They sit well together. They represent our relationship with the earth. I had a fantastic time drawing these. There's another one. The carriers, they represent balance for me. So there are about 4 carriers. There we are, look. 4 carriers and 5 nature dancers. So there you go. That is a real sneak peek into what's coming up on Friday. And if I show you them, all right. And then, but on Thursday when we get together, I really want to draw with you. I want to draw a couple of them so that you get the feel for how I put them together. And then on Friday, I'll present the stamps to you. Okay. So these are quite substantial stamp sets because we looked at them, Jazz and I, we've labored over these, right? And I just want to show you when they're drawn up, how beautiful they are. So they're in small, and we kept them large. The reason we kept them large is because Sam and Jilly and several others said they need to be large so that they make beautiful centerpieces and they're so perfect for coloring in. So you can see here, got all 9 of them. All 9 of them. We couldn't, nobody wanted to delete one because they all are different, but they are beautiful designs, I think, even if I say so myself. Got them in tiny, and then we put them into the opposite. So let's say, just take that one there, right? This isn't just a positive and a negative. This sits beautifully in its own right. So now this particular, so we've got 2 sets here, 2 large A4 stamp sets, right? And they're a consideration, but they're also a fantastic art project, whether you're into your coloring, whether you want to do landscapes. These are beautiful because, of course, if I stamp that over the top of a color, well, it's opaque, isn't it? So, and the other thing is, of course, that sits inside that, and that sits inside that. So they're 2-way overlays, but we've kept them separate because they are 2 different art applications. So there you go. That's where it took me when I got to New Mexico. Well, it started in Arizona. And the Hopi, they live right by the painted desert that I was telling you about. And they are phenomenal jewelers, silversmiths as well. So they excel at pottery, beautiful silver jewelry, silversmithing, carving, and weaving. That's their strength. But for me, and I'll show you some lovely pottery. I did take photos and send it in the newsletter for the clubs this month as well. I bought some fantastic pots from an indigenous artist. Just amazing work. I'm a potter, but I look at this work and I think, yep, that's in your blood, man. You know, amazing art. So what else have I got to tell you? Let me see. Yeah, just remember, I just check in my list. Just remember, this afternoon, mini makes. And that's really where those little tiny, oh, they're just so beautiful, the little kachinas. They're a pleasure to use. They were a pleasure and a joy to draw as well. And they flowed. It was like, I didn't use an eraser. It was just, they just kept coming, you know, they're just beautiful little girls. So I hope that you enjoy those. Let me see, tomorrow, Clarity TV with Paul in the afternoon. Wednesday, 2 and 6, Hobby Maker. Thursday, 7 o'clock in the SHAC. We're going to draw a couple of those little Hopi people. And then on Friday, 10 and 2, we'll be introducing the Hopi people to the public. But for now, I'm going to love you and leave you. Paul, thanks so much for your help. And I'll see you this afternoon.